When you think of the Norse underworld, you probably picture some kind of Viking hell, right? But what if I told you it was also a quiet home for ancestors and a doomsday vault designed to save the gods? Today, we're going to unravel the many, many faces of Helheim.
So let me ask you something. Close your eyes for a sec. When I say Norse underworld, what pops into your head? Is it fire and punishment and eternal torment? Kind of like that popular image of a Viking hell? Yeah, that's what most people think, but that's not even close to the whole story. The original vision of Helheim was something else entirely. It was, well, a lot colder, a lot murkier, and honestly, so much more interesting than the simple good versus evil afterlife we always see in pop culture. So let's start with the oldest version, the original blueprint for Hell's Realm. See, it wasn't about punishment at all. It was just the final stop for pretty much everyone. This destination was for a group called the Straw Dead. What a fantastic term, right? It just means anyone who didn't die with a weapon in their hand. So, people who passed away from sickness or old age or some random accident. Basically, most people. You have to understand, there were really two main paths in the Norse afterlife. If you were a warrior who died in the heat of battle, boom, you got whisked off to Valhalla for endless, glorious feasting. But if you were literally anyone else, you went to Helheim, a place that's best described as a kind of shadowed stasis. Not torture, just existence. And this earliest version of Helheim, it really wasn't a punishment. It was a cold, damp place way down in the misty world of Niflheim, sure, but it was also a functioning society. The dead were met by their family who'd gone before them, and there were even halls for feasting. It was just a continuation of life, but, in the shadows. But that neutral image, it didn't last. Centuries later, Helheim got a very grim makeover, and we can thank one very influential scholar who basically reframed it as a hall of absolute misery. And you can actually pinpoint when this all changed. The really early traditions, like what we see in the Poetic Edda, talk about that neutral realm we just covered. But then, in the 13th century, this scholar, Snorri Sturluson, who was writing from a much more Christianized point of view, painted a much, much bleaker picture. And Snorri did this with some seriously powerful allegory. He describes Hell's Hall, which he calls sleet cold, and then gives all her stuff these awful names. Her plate, it's hunger. Her knife is famine. Her bed is sickness. Every single one is a symbol for the physical decay of a body in the grave. Pretty grim. And just like that, with this one description, the whole idea of Helheim shifted. It wasn't an ancestral home anymore. It became a dungeon of deprivation, a place that symbolized physical suffering and the horror of just wasting away. Okay, but hold on, because it gets even more complicated. While the main part of Helheim wasn't about moral punishment, there was this kind of fine print, a special section tucked away, reserved only for the truly wicked. This place was called Nastrand, which literally means corpse shore. Think of it as a maximum security prison inside the larger realm of hell, designed specifically for moral payback. The imagery here is absolutely terrifying. I mean, the sources say its walls were woven from the glistening spines of countless snakes, and they were all facing inward. And if that's not bad enough, their mouths dripped a constant, burning venom from the ceiling, which created actual rivers of poison on the floor below. And who ended up in this nightmare? Well, the souls of murderers, adulterers, and this was a big one in their culture, oath breakers. Those were the sins that would get you a one-way ticket to the corpse shore. And to top it all off, the dragon Nidhogg, the malice striker, was said to hang out there, just chewing on the bodies of the damned. So this wasn't just deprivation, this was active, eternal torment. So we've got the ancestral home, the Hall of Misery, and the Shore of Punishment. But there is one final, incredible twist to what Helheim was. It was also a kind of doomsday vault. And this idea completely flips everything we've just discussed on its head. Far from being the end of the line, Helheim could actually be a place of protection, a sanctuary from total annihilation. The key to all of this is the myth of Baldur, the god of light. After he's tragically killed, he goes down to Hell's realm. Then the great battle of Ragnarok happens, and it just destroys the world above. But Baldur, he's safe, tucked away down below. And when all the fighting is over, he emerges from Helheim to help rebuild the new world. He survives because he was in hell. It's such a beautiful way to think about it. In this sense, Helheim acts like the winter of the cosmos. It's the cold, quiet earth that protects the seeds of the future, keeping them safe from all the fire and chaos until it's time for them to grow again. So, let's bring it all together. Helheim isn't just one thing. It's at least 4 different concepts, all layered on top of each other. It's a neutral ancestral home, a grim allegory for decay, a specific place for moral punishment, and a cosmic sanctuary for preservation. And that leaves us with one last big thought. If a place can be a home, a prison, and a sanctuary all at the same time, what does that tell us about how myths evolve? It shows that these stories aren't static things set in stone. They're alive, and they change to reflect the hopes and fears of the people telling them. What we see as just an underworld is actually this incredibly rich, complex reflection of an entire culture's view of life, death, and rebirth.